focus in on how we shop. Ethical, sustainable, and climate-friendly fashion is becoming more and more common in the retail space. But it's not always easy figuring out if something really is green. So Dutch marketplace DAYRIZE'S has created a system that tells whether something is actually sustainable or just greenwashing. I caught up with Vincent Hodgson, the CEO of DAYRIZE'S, and started by asking him how his sustainability scoring metrics actually work.
We're a marketplace for sustainable products, bringing together sustainable brands and consumers looking to make more conscious purchasing decisions. And the way we go about it is that we select brands or partners, as we call them, based upon a list of criteria like no child labor, no forced labor, no animal testing, no microplastics, and so on. And then we go into a product level, which is pretty unique, where we collect a whole lot of information about every single product that is listed on DAYRIZE'S. The materials made of, where these materials were sourced, manufacturing processes that were used, eco-labels, and so on. And then in addition, we collate data sets such as eco-label databases, life cycle inventory data, and a bit of geospatial data so we can see how far a product and its components has traveled, all to get a bigger picture of the impact of an individual product. We then analyze this information against a range of data sets from different international organizations such as UNICEF, the World Resources Institute, etc. And then we calculate how a product is performing against different dimensions of sustainability to get to a DAYRIZE'S score.
So how high is that bar? Is it possible to get a 100% perfect score?
In a perfect world, yes. I think the DAYRIZE'S score is a measure of how closely a product adheres to what our definition of a perfectly sustainable product is. And I mean, a truly sustainable product is one that fulfills a meaningful purpose, is designed in a circular manner, is non-hazardous, it must be responsibly sourced, it must be fully recyclable, and it needs to be low impact or regenerative across a range of impact indicators. So it's pretty hefty to have a perfect sustainable product, but this is how we measure it in a score between 0 and 100.
So what would be considered then a good score in your view? Where on that scale?
Anywhere between 20 and 100, obviously. So products scoring below 20 are not considered to be sustainable enough to list on our curated platform. And our current range is between, I think the lowest scoring products is 34 and the highest sits at 85.
All right, so let's talk about how this translates then into consumer behavior. A consumer using your platform, and I understand your platform is relatively new, you just launched in July, but what have you seen in terms of their product selection and how that relates to the sustainability scores?
Well, first off, for the consumer, there's a clear intent to consume more responsibly. We've done market research, and there's a clear intent and a clear need to find an easier way to consume more responsibly, but the action is lacking because it's simply too hard and too difficult to understand what is and what is not sustainable. People are confused by the long list of different eco-labels, not understanding what all these claims really mean. And DAYRIZE'S is really here to help navigate them through that clutter and help them understand how sustainable products truly are and allow them to compare between products with the DAYRIZE'S score, which is pretty unique.
Here at Bloomberg, we talk a lot about ESG and about the problem of greenwashing and kind of the opaqueness of a lot of the ESG market, how it's kind of hard to have reliable data in that regard. Where do you get your data come from when you are putting together these sustainability scores?
Well, we first of all collect the data from our partners, so it's quite substantial data. Like I said, materials made of, where it's been sourced, manufacturing processes, etc. And then we actually compare that data together with the data sets that we use against the sources that I mentioned earlier. The public sources of well-known research organizations, EcoInvent, the World Resources Institute as mentioned. So that's how we compare those credentials against.